So, I, 31 male, was driving to work this morning, and as usual, I was focused on the road and thinking about the day ahead. It's about 7 a.m., and the freeway is busy with the usual rush hour traffic. I'm getting close to my exit and need to maneuver carefully to avoid missing it. I'm driving along in the middle lane, past this slower car in the right lane, and I'm about to switch lanes when the car in the right lane suddenly speeds up, blocking my access to that lane. Automatically, I'm annoyed and I look over to see what the hell is wrong with that driver. Turns out, it's my wife, 30 female, and she's smiling and waving, happy to see me on her way to work. She looks genuinely thrilled, as if this unexpected encounter has made her morning. But in that moment, I don't wave back or smile. Keep in mind, I'm already annoyed at the driver speeding up to block my way, trying to make my exit, and caught by surprise to see my wife. The situation caught me completely off guard. I had been focused on making sure I didn't miss my exit or cause an accident. My initial reaction was irritation, not because it was my wife, but because any driver suddenly speeding up to block a lane change is frustrating and potentially dangerous. Seeing it was her just added a layer of confusion to my frustration. When I got to work, I received a message from my wife. She said she was sad I didn't wave back. Honestly, I thought she was joking, and I responded with a light-hearted comment about how chaotic the freeway is in the morning. I figured she would understand, but as it turns out, she wasn't joking. Later that evening, when we were both home, she brought it up again. I could tell she was genuinely hurt, and we ended up having a mini argument over it. She explained that from her perspective, she saw me and felt a burst of happiness. She thought it would be a cute and spontaneous moment to wave and share a smile, something to lighten up our usual routine morning. From my point of view, I explained that I was primarily focused on driving safely. The sudden speed up of her car made me anxious because I was worried about missing my exit, or worse, getting into an accident. The freeway at 7 a.m. is chaotic, and my immediate reaction was rooted in ensuring I navigated safely. She opened up about how she felt overlooked and unimportant. Our mornings are usually rushed, and seeing me unexpectedly made her day. It was supposed to be a happy surprise for both of us, and she felt rejected when I didn't respond with the same excitement. She felt like her effort to make a connection was dismissed. As we talked more, I began to understand her feelings better. I acknowledged that while my focus was on driving, I could have reacted more positively once I realized it was her. I admitted that I didn't handle the situation well, and that my annoyance at the driving situation overshadowed the joy of seeing her. We both had valid points. Her desire for a brief, cheerful interaction clashed with my focus on driving and safety concerns. We agreed that the freeway isn't the best place for unexpected interactions, but I also recognized that I could have been more considerate of her feelings. In the end, we decided to find better ways to connect in the mornings. We agreed to send each other sweet messages before leaving for work, ensuring we have intentional moments of connection rather than relying on chance encounters. We also plan to have a quick chat over breakfast or share a moment of calm before heading out. As we continued discussing, she shared more about her day and how she looks forward to little moments of joy, especially in our busy schedules. She emphasized that seeing me on the freeway was like a small gift, a moment of serendipity that she wanted to cherish. I listened and realized that these small gestures mean a lot to her, and it's something I need to be more mindful of. I apologized for not acknowledging her in the moment and for not taking her feelings seriously when she first messaged me. I told her that I understand how important these small moments of connection are, and that I would make a better effort to recognize and appreciate them. To make up for the misunderstanding, I suggested we have a date night that weekend. We planned to go to one of our favorite restaurants and spend quality time together without any distractions. This gesture was my way of showing her that I value our relationship and the small moments that come with it. However, things took a turn for the worse when during our date night, we ran into her ex-boyfriend, Tom. Tom and my wife had a brief but intense relationship years ago, and while it ended amicably, there's always been a bit of tension whenever he's mentioned. Tom was friendly, perhaps too friendly, and my wife seemed flustered, trying to keep the conversation short. I could feel the temperature rise as jealousy bubbled under my skin. I didn't want to let my insecurities ruin our night, but the encounter left me on edge. When we sat back down at our table, I couldn't help but bring it up. "So, Tom seems to be doing well," I said, trying to sound nonchalant, but failing miserably. My wife sighed, sensing where this was going. "He's just an old friend, nothing more. You know that." But the encounter had struck a nerve. "It just felt like you were more excited to see him than me this morning," I blurted out, the words escaping before I could stop them. She looked at me, hurt and frustration mixing in her eyes. "That's not fair," she said quietly. "I was excited to see you this morning, and I was hurt when you didn't respond. Now, you're turning this into something about Tom? That's ridiculous." I realized I had let my jealousy and the stress of the morning's encounter spill over into our evening, ruining what was supposed to be a special night. I apologized again, more earnestly this time, and we managed to salvage the rest of the date, but the tension lingered. As we drove home, she turned to me and said, "I just want us to be able to enjoy these small moments together. Life is too short to let these little things drive a wedge between us." I nodded, knowing she was right. We agreed to work on our communication and to try to be more understanding of each other's feelings. The next morning, we woke up to our twin daughters, Emily and Sarah, fourth female, climbing into our bed. They were giggling and asking for their morning cuddles. And for a moment, the tension from the previous night melted away. We both smiled and focused on our kids, trying to start the day on a positive note. As the day went on, my wife mentioned she had told her sister, Anna, 28 female, about our argument. Anna has always been very protective of her older sister, and she called me later that day to give me a piece of her mind. She told me I needed to be more considerate and supportive of my wife's feelings. While I appreciated her concern, it also made me feel more pressure to fix things quickly. That evening, my in-laws, who lived nearby, invited us over for dinner. My father-in-law, Jim, 58 male, is usually a laid-back guy, but my mother-in-law, Karen, 56 female, can be quite the meddler. During dinner, Karen subtly brought up the topic of our morning commute and how important it is to cherish small moments. It was clear my wife had confided in her parents too, and now the whole family was involved. Feeling cornered and embarrassed, I decided to address it head-on. I stood up and, in front of everyone, apologized to my wife for not waving back and for letting my irritation overshadow the joy of seeing her. I admitted that I should have handled it better and promised to work on being more mindful and appreciative. My wife looked surprised but touched by my public apology. She smiled and said, "Thank you. That means a lot to me." The rest of the evening went smoother, and there was a sense of relief that we were moving forward. A few days later, my wife and I decided to take a weekend trip with the kids to the mountains to get away from everything and reconnect as a family. The fresh air and change of scenery did wonders for us. We spent the days hiking and playing with Emily and Sarah, and the nights talking by the fire. We had some deep conversations about our relationship, our communication, and how to better support each other. During one of these conversations, I opened up about my insecurities and how seeing her with Tom had stirred up old feelings of inadequacy. She reassured me that I was the one she chose and loved, and that Tom was just a part of her past. We both agreed to leave our baggage behind and focus on building a stronger future together. By the end of the trip, we felt more connected than ever. We promised to keep the lines of communication open and to always make time for each other, no matter how busy life gets. The experience taught us both valuable lessons about love, respect, and the importance of small gestures. So, am I wrong for not waving back to my wife on the freeway when I was trying to change lanes and make my exit? Maybe I was in the moment, but it led to important conversations and growth in our relationship. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below to let me know your thoughts, or if you have any questions. And as always, keep exploring and stay awesome. See you in the next video.